Milani, the cheetah, was finally giving birth after an unexpected pregnancy. However, the vets were shocked when they saw what was happening with their 5 cubs and were forced to rush into the enclosure to take charge of a very dangerous situation. There was something wrong with the cheetah in pen number 5. Jim Anderlin, the director of the Metro Richmond Zoo, and Dr. Alvarez, the attending veterinarian, exchanged wary glances as they observed her behavior. Milani paced restlessly within the enclosure, her usual grace marred by an unmistakable tension. Her eyes, usually sharp and attentive, held a glint of unease, and she would occasionally let out growls that shook everyone. For hours, Anderlin and Dr. Alvarez watched Milani's unusual restlessness as she circled the enclosure with a sense of urgency. Finally, when she started crouching periodically and then getting back up with a roar, the realization hit them. Milani was about to give birth. The cheetah was pregnant, and while they suspected her cubs were about to come to life, they didn't expect them to arrive that early in the month. Given the bulge of her belly, they were expecting her to deliver 3 or 4 medium-sized cubs. The tests they had carried out until the previous day hadn't shown any signs of premature labor, and they were worried that something might have gone wrong during the night. But there was no more time to check on her. This was it, the moment they had been waiting for, the culmination of months of anticipation and preparation. With practiced efficiency, the zoo staff readied the den, making sure the camera was in place to capture every precious moment. The weight of responsibility hung heavy in the air, a reminder that they were about to bear witness to one of nature's most extraordinary miracles. Milani's birthing den was large enough for her to walk around in pace, but also to accommodate her little ones when they arrived. As an elderly cheetah with not much reproductive time left, this pregnancy was very important, and everyone was desperate to see it end happily. Slowly but surely, Alvarez approached the cheetah's pen and coaxed Milani towards the birthing den. As though she already knew where he was leading her, she carefully walked into the den and lay down. Dr. Alvarez, Jim Anderlin, and the rest of the team watched her via the camera with anticipation. Little did they know that the story about to unfold would carry them through a journey of heartache and triumph, a testament to the wonders of nature itself. Milani did her very best. After about half an hour of labor, she finally pushed out her first cub, a small grayish cheetah no larger than half a pound. Seemingly pleased with herself, Milani purred in contentment and lovingly licked her first child. Shortly after, she crouched again, and soon another gray, tiny cub emerged. This happened again twice, and everyone watching cheered loudly. Milani was the proud mother of 4 healthy cubs. Her pregnancies last for about 3 months and usually result in the birth of 3 to 5 cubs per litter. However, the chances of natural pregnancy with older cheetahs are pretty slim, and the chances of them having several cubs are even slimmer. At 10 years old, it was already a miracle that Milani had managed to get successfully pregnant. But from what they could see, she had just given birth to 4 healthy cubs. Her feat was nothing short of miraculous. But unbeknownst to them, Milani was not done surprising them. With one last push, she gave birth to her 5th and final cub. When the camera finally caught the last little cheetah, Dr. Alvarez screamed loudly. When they asked him what was wrong, he told the other staff that something was terribly wrong with this cub. The others were of normal size with very dark fur and nearly no visible spots. Although they were still blind and helpless, they did not look quite as feeble as the 5th cub. Not only was it dangerously tiny, with bones sticking out under its skin, but its fur was stringy, and the vet could almost see the pale skin underneath. The team quickly sprang into action, getting ready to evacuate the cub and help. But before they could reach the newborn cheetah, they would have to deal with its mother. Milani had already endured an exhausting delivery and a challenging 3 months of pregnancy. She would not take kindly to humans taking away her cub. Cheetahs who have just given birth can be very aggressive, and Milani had always been a moody sort, often preferring to keep to herself. So the staff knew that they had to approach with caution. She tended to like being left alone, and with her cubs being a priority now, getting close might prove to be a dangerous mistake. Dr. Alvarez told the team members as much, warning them to be careful. But he couldn't have been more wrong. After all, Milani was a cheetah unlike any other. She was a beacon of hope for her endangered species, a survivor of a hunting ring in Namibia. In a desperate bid to save the dwindling cheetah population, the Metro Richmond Zoo had brought Milani into its repopulation program. Her journey from the hunting ring to a haven was nothing short of remarkable. As a symbol of hope, every step of her path was closely monitored and meticulously planned. Cheetahs, once widely spread across the African continent, now tread a perilous path toward survival. With their numbers dwindling at an alarming rate, these majestic creatures are a poignant reminder of the fragile balance between humanity and the natural world. Facing habitat loss, human-wildlife conflicts, and dwindling prey, the cheetah's foothold in the wild has grown increasingly tenuous. With their numbers declining, conservationists have turned to unprecedented measures to ensure the species' survival. Zoos like the Metro Richmond Zoo play a crucial role in the cheetah's fight for survival. Milani's journey from her rescue to her present trial underscores the vital importance of such efforts. As a mature cheetah, her successful pregnancy is not just a personal triumph. It symbolizes a glimmer of hope for the entire species, offering a rare opportunity to bolster their numbers and preserve their legacy. The zookeepers knew that breeding cheetahs in captivity was no simple feat. Their efforts often hinged on the finicky nature of the cats themselves. There were 5 male cheetahs at the zoo, but Milani rejected every one of them. Months of failed attempts weighed heavily on the team, who were determined to provide Milani with a chance to be a mother. Then, like a twist of fate, Bo entered the scene. Bo was an adult cheetah rescued from a poaching ring, much like Milani. Introduced to each other as potential mates, the two cheetahs maintained an initial distance. Weeks passed, and it seemed that Milani would once again reject a potential mate. But one morning, a miraculous sight awaited the zookeepers. Milani and Bo were found side by side. Their connection had formed quietly, unannounced, and soon they became inseparable. The bond they forged would prove instrumental in Milani's journey to motherhood. As the story unraveled, so did the barriers between two cheetahs with a shared history of hardship. Soon, Milani was pregnant. Everyone was shocked to find this out. They had been hoping but had slowly started to give up the idea as her 10th birthday rolled around. Her pregnancy was a tightrope walk, every step fraught with both hope and apprehension. The zookeepers meticulously monitored her health, knowing that the stakes were higher than ever. Milani's body was being pushed to its limits as her age made the pregnancy an uphill battle. But now, here she was, and although they had hoped for an easy birth with no complications, they weren't so lucky. They needed to get that cub, and quickly before it was too late. But Milani was standing over her newborn babies and gave no signs of moving. The other cheetahs were huddled together at a safe distance, giving the new mother the privacy she needed, but ready to jump in at the first sign of danger. To them, humans, even the ones who daily took care of them, were considered the biggest threat of them all. Still, the staff had to try. As soon as they approached the den, they found Milani in a panic. The mother cheetah had briefly left her other cubs to attend to the 5th. She groaned and nudged it as though willing it to be healthy, but the poor thing was barely responsive. The moment she heard the vet and his team coming, the cheetah did something absolutely shocking. She stepped out of the den as though she was allowing them to go in and retrieve her sick cub. The other cheetahs watched her from a distance, but seemingly understood that she was willingly welcoming the humans inside their sacred territory for a crucial reason. Although they still had to follow security protocol, the staff quickly noticed that the cheetahs did not show any signs of serious defensiveness. So with caution, Dr. Alvarez entered the den and picked up the 5th cub. Milani watched them with weary eyes as Dr. Alvarez emerged from the den, clutching the fragile 5th cub in his gloved hands. The atmosphere in the enclosure grew tense. The zoo staff, who had been cheering just moments ago, exchanged worried glances. The contrast between the healthy wriggling cubs and the motionless form in the vet's hands was stark and disheartening. Whispers of concern spread among the team. One of them asked if it was even alive. Milani, her fur still matted from the exertion of labor, watched them with a mixture of curiosity and apprehension. Even in her weakened state, the maternal instincts burned bright within her, urging her to care for the cub that lay so still in the hands of the humans. As the commotion continued, Dr. Alvarez gently laid the sickly cub on a specially prepared examination table nearby. The cub's breathing was shallow, its skin pallid and translucent. The vet's fingers worked quickly and methodically, taking samples and conducting tests, while his team stood by, ready to assist in any way they could. Each passing second seemed to stretch into an eternity as the team waited for answers. Milani paced restlessly outside the den, her eyes never leaving her cub. The results of the tests arrived, casting a heavy shadow over the room. Dr. Alvarez's face remained solemn as he delivered the grim news to his team. The youngest cub had been born with a severe birth defect, a condition that would make its survival a daunting challenge. Everyone suddenly went quiet as they looked at the cub with sadness and pity. The news hit them hard. The staff had dedicated themselves to the care and preservation of these magnificent animals, and seeing one of their precious newborns afflicted by such a cruel twist of fate was a bitter blow. Milani's instinctive protectiveness towards her cubs was palpable. Her eyes were fixed on the sickly cub with a mixture of sorrow and resolve. Despite the bad news, Dr. Alvarez and his team were determined to do what they could to turn things around. They faced the daunting task of fighting for the life of this fragile cub, defying the odds and proving their commitment to these creatures, especially Milani, who had already been through so much. The sickly cub's vulnerability seemed to amplify their determination, and even in the face of adversity, they were not about to give up. Consultations with experts from around the world came running as the team sought guidance and insights into the delicate situation. The urgency of the cub's condition prompted them to explore every possible avenue, drawing from a wealth of knowledge and experience. Together, they meticulously crafted a comprehensive care plan, combining their expertise and creativity in a bid to give the cub a fighting chance. While their efforts focused on the sickly cub, the team was acutely aware of the delicate balancing act they had to maintain. Milani's other healthy cubs demanded her attention, and the emotional turmoil of managing the divide between motherhood and the critical care unit was a constant challenge. Being solitary creatures, cheetahs do not have the benefit of an entire pride caring for their cubs. For this reason, Milani couldn't delegate the crucial task of raising her 4 healthy babies to other females in the enclosure. Her cubs needed milk, warmth, and protection. Their eyes were still closed and would not open before the 10-day mark. They were completely helpless and couldn't understand the emotional turmoil their mother was going through because of their tiny sibling. The staff juggled these responsibilities with care and precision, each decision made with the well-being of the entire cheetah family in mind. As days turned into weeks, the sickly cub's journey to recovery was marked by gradual progress. Its once feeble body began to show signs of improvement, and the delicate glimmers of hope were met with cautious optimism. Every milestone reached was a testament to the dedication of the team and the strength of the little cub they named Zuma, who was fighting to survive. Throughout the grueling process, Milani's resilience never wavered. The cheetah who had endured hardships in the wild and the challenges of pregnancy now faced the uncertainty of her cub's fate. Her eyes, once filled with unease, now held a mixture of hope and determination. She stood guard over her cubs, her instincts heightened by the knowledge that one of them was fighting a battle of its own. The zoo staff worked round the clock, their commitment unyielding. Each test, each treatment was administered with precision and care, with the ultimate goal of giving the sickly cub a chance to thrive. Zuma's progress was closely monitored. Its every movement and reaction was scrutinized with a watchful eye. As weeks stretched on, its strength grew, and its once pallid skin began to regain a healthier hue. The intensive care and unwavering dedication were paying off. Slowly but surely, the atmosphere in the zoo was one of both tension and hope, a delicate balance between the uncertainty of the future and the determination to shape it. The cub, which had once seemed so fragile and feeble, was now showing remarkable signs of stability. Its breathing grew steadier, and where its movements had once been sluggish and tentative, they now showed signs of vitality. Squirming and wriggling with determined energy, Zuma was becoming more vocal and could now take a few steps. His stringy and sparse fur was growing denser and healthier, and he started to look more like his healthy siblings. The team's efforts had not been in vain, and every day when they tracked progress, the room buzzed with a newfound sense of excitement. The joy that emanated from the staff was as palpable as the relief that flooded the space. But the journey was far from over. The next challenge was to reintroduce the cub to its mother and forge the bond crucial for its survival. Everyone held their breath as Milani approached little Zuma, the air charged with anticipation. Would she accept the cub despite his fragile state, or would she reject him and leave him to be the runt of the litter forever? Having worked with Milani the longest, Dr. Alvarez was the one to bring the cub to her. He approached with caution, as he had done all those months ago, and carefully placed the cub some feet away from his mother. As Milani drew closer, the tension among her audience was almost tangible. Her eyes, filled with a mix of curiosity and maternal instinct, were fixed on baby Zuma. She circled the young cheetah, almost as if she were studying him. Then, as if in slow motion, she extended her tongue and gently licked the cub's tiny form. The gesture was tender and hesitant, but the bond between the mother and cub was very much alive. And then something truly magical happened. Milani picked Zuma up by the scruff of his neck and took him to meet his other siblings. Dr. Alvarez could feel tears welling in his eyes at the moment. Zuma's siblings welcomed him with open paws, and not too long after, they were already playing and goofing around with each other, as young cheetahs do. The cheetah care team at the Metro Richmond Zoo bore witness to a story of heartache, perseverance, and ultimate triumph. The challenges had been immense, the stakes high, but the unwavering commitment of every individual involved had turned the tide in favor of life. The sickly cub, once on the brink of despair, now had a place with his family, a living testament to the power of dedication, compassion, and the unbreakable bond between a mother and her cub. Delighted by the monumental progress with their program, Jim Anderland was proud to share the story with the public, praising Dr. Alvarez and his team for their excellent work. Soon, lots of love and support started pouring in for the cheetah family and the team responsible for their care. This was when they decided to set up a 24-hour cheetah cam that would allow fans and animal lovers to watch the lives of these gorgeous creatures and check on them from time to time. It was also a way for the zoo to gather support and resources that would help them take better care of the animals in their care.